go again?
Oh, no, not again.
You've seen it before, haven't you?
Dom, how long have we been doing this?
Once more unto the breach, dear friends.
Again and again and again until we're both dead.
Hello, welcome to You've Seen It Before, Movie Reviews Connections of Mind. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is the sequel to 2018's Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse from the minds of Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who also co-produced this one. And this film, once again, focuses on Miles Morales, the young Spider-Man who got his powers, had a run-in with various other spider people from across the multiverse, and he is back in a thick of things with the multiverse. However, the multiverse is under a severe threat, and he is in way over his head, or is he? Now, this video review will contain spoilers of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and it will, but I'll be doing my spoiler-free thoughts for, before I get into any of that. So just so you know, there will be some spoilers later on in this review, but first and foremost, let's get into a spoiler-free talk on Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Is it a good movie? Is it a good Spider-Man movie, Marvel movie? Is it worth seeing in the theaters? I would say yes, absolutely. This is probably one of the most packed theaters that I've been in. Probably in the last probably since the theaters reopened again. It was always encouraging to see, which tells me the right movie can bring the crowds, and this was definitely one of them. I mean, I don't often see movies on IMAX. I think I was probably in the XD theater, which is probably why the sound for the trailers was so loud. Oh my gosh! But that being said, see this on as big a screen as you possibly can, because I mean, from a visual standpoint alone, this movie is so mind-blowing. Even more so than the first one. The first one, I feel like, yes, they do. That it was groundbreaking in its own right, as far as what animation styles and playing around with all that going on. I feel like now that once the studio and they saw that maybe it didn't do the biggest numbers in theatrical, but the acclaim grew and grew. It got an Academy Award. Then that gave them license to take the training wheels off, so to speak, and go really out there with what they could do with animation, and that is just on full display. I mean, they take the time to show each universe has its own artistic style. Spider-Gwen's universe, she has its own it's kind of pastel watercolory, I guess. I'm not great describe it, but very vibrant shades of color on that one. There's the advantage of showing the Lego the Lego verse in that one, and so many others. Good, and I think there's also the villain Spot, who is a relatively obscure Spider-Man villain, but he's almost like hand-drawn. Like I swear this probably like actual pencil and paper was used to animate this in a. I have the definitive proof of that off the top of my head, or I haven't looked into that, but I would not be shocked if that was the case in this production, because I mean I swear these are some of the most mind-blowing visuals out there, and that can hurt it to a certain degree. I'll get into that in a second, but I will say this is definitely one of the most mind-blowing visual spectacles that I've seen in quite a while. And the story-wise is another one that it doesn't pull any punches either. So we get Miles Morales again, who is living it up as Spider-Man in this universe. However, he obviously misses he's been exposed to all the possibilities of the universe the multiverse that is, and his friends, especially Gwen, they're in another universe, and he thinks, and he's feeling very lonely. And when they finally do come back into his life, it's not quite how he imagined it to be, and that journey, not only Miles' journey, but his parents have a journey on their own. Gwen has another journey on her own as well, and these are all explored very well. And I will say, this is more of a PSA for the movie. If you've not seen this yet, it does end in a cliffhanger, because originally I believe this was meant to be filmed all in one go, and it was going to be broken up, because it was originally titled Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, and then the next movie is going to be Spider-Verse 2 before it's renamed to Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. So there is something to be said. It doesn't wrap up everything in a neat bow by the end. However, I feel like it is a much better, a proper cliffhanger ending, I will say, rather than what they're doing with Fast X, because that was very much that was technically a cliffhanger, but that felt like an incomplete movie, so to speak. This one, if it is a complete narrative, and it successfully sets up the stakes for the next movie, which I think that this movie does very well. Maybe at the end, maybe because me knowing that kind of that's just my experience kind of colored that, especially by the end. It's like, all right, where are we going with this? It's like once they start setting things up for the next movie, it's like, all right, maybe they were dragging out the reveal of certain things a little too much. But again, that's just my personal thing. But you might not find that at all. But really, the other benefit of this movie is really the concept of the Spider-Verse, and we've been getting so many multiverse movies lately. I mean, you got Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness, you got Loki, you got Everything Everywhere All at Once, all the other ones. I feel like there's one more that I think The Flash is going to be touching on the multiverse as well. So I feel like we're kind of getting to that multiverse saturation a bit, and that could be because the studios, it's like, all right, we've played out all our arcs. What are we going to do about it? And all right, the multiverse, we got infinite combinations, and so they've sort of saturated the market, so to speak. I mean, maybe that's just me, but I feel like we're starting to get a little multiversed out. And on the one hand, it's great we see the multiverse, and there's a lot of fun to be had with the multiverse things, and the way that they're cute little like comic panel inserts. If you're familiar with comic books, sometimes they have like a little insert like, oh, what's this character's talking about? Oh, see issue 45 or whatever, and they have a bunch of those. A couple of them in the beginning that are easy to spot, but by the time you get to the specific location where it's basically the hub of the Spider-Verse, and all these spider people are walking around, there's so many of them pop up. It's like, yes, the director, the creators know that when you go back, you're going to have the access to a pause button, and you're going to want to read all of those little things, and there are probably going to be some in there that are for diehard Spider-Man fans. But for all of us, like, oh, that's a cute little detail. I like that. Maybe maybe they don't take as much advantage of that as they could have, but then again, maybe it is the perfect balance, because I feel like if they leaned too far into that, it would have started to buckle in its own way, because I think the first film smartly limited the amount of Spider-Verse interactions to I believe it's six universes, and that seemed to be the perfect balance. And then now you're expanding it to, I think the number of spider people from different universes that interact with ups to, I'd say, about a dozen or so. Not counting all the other, the hundreds that get brief, blink and you'll miss some cameos in there. But Like I said, if they gotten more than that, they probably would have buckled those underweight, so that's probably a smart decision. But I don't know, something about it, if you're going to go that far, you probably could have taken it a little bit more. Maybe they're saving that for the sequel. That's probably what they're going to be doing. So, yeah, but overall, I think what really, I really like this movie, but what keeps me from loving this movie, and maybe this will change on a rewatch, is there was actually an interesting article from the BBC this week about how people who go to see Taylor Swift's Eras tour, they're complaining that I can't remember any of the of the tour of the concert itself. I paid however many hundreds of dollars to see this movie and waited in line for however many long it takes to get into this thing, and after it's over, I can't really remember half of it or more. And it suggested that part of the reason is, overstimulation. Your brain can only assimilate so much information, absorb so much information. We're being bombarded by so much, on the stage or whatever, or on the screen in this case, that you can't even remember half of it. And when I say this movie is stunning, it is from a figurative standpoint, but also kind of literally. There's so much going on the screen that it's kind of hard for some of this to sink in, and that's maybe this is my personal nitpick. I mean, other people will probably say for shame, but Gwen's universe, like those bright colors, they're great to look at in the beginning. We get a couple of extended scenes, somewhat extended scenes in closer to the end in that universe, and I mean, at least to my eye, it got kind of hard to look at. After a little bit, just from the combination of the colors and the changing of the shades to a certain extent. I mean, that might just be me, but that kind of hurt it for me. So that's what's keeping me from saying that this is lovable. I love it, and I'm not saying that this isn't a technological and storytelling marvel, which it totally is, and pun. Not intended, but I'll take it. I mean, for me, I still kind of prefer the first one. I feel like story-wise, I feel it does a better job at balancing the main character story, which is Miles' story, with the other multiverse characters at that point. And this one, I mean, I feel like Miles' story is powerful. Gwen's story is powerful, but it is starting to juggle that it didn't balance the multiverse stuff nearly enough, or didn't give them enough weight, in my opinion. So that's why I say I like the first one better. At least only after one viewing, my opinion might change after rewatch of this. But if I was going to give Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse a letter grade, I would say this is a solid A. Those few nitpicks are going to keep it from getting an A+, in my opinion, but this is by no means saying that you should not go see it with many of your friends in a very large screen, eating copious amounts of theater concessions, support the theater. This is definitely one of those movies you have to see in a theater to get the full joy out of it. So those are my spoiler-free thoughts on Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Now let's get into some spoiler talk as to certain plot developments and character arcs that may seem familiar to you and where you may have seen them before. Now, I will say the threat to the multiverse, again, this is a thing that we've seen in a bunch of the multiverse movies that we've been getting recently, and I saw them, that cheeky little dialogue nod to Doctor Strange, but I think the more appropriate comparison with multiverse movies goes is with Everything Everywhere All at Once, because that movie has more while Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness had more one Doctor Strange facing a threat to the multiverse, and you see another variant of Doctor Strange in there. Everything All at Once, you actually have the main character rallying all of her other selves in all the other multiverses to help combat a threat to the multiverse, and you get that here with admittedly, the antagonist perspective, when all the spider people across the entire multiverse are ganging up on Miles here because they see him as the threat to the multiverse. So, but that's another thing. I feel like this movie also kind of took it one step too far because I feel like this is a problem that a lot of sympathetic villains have to go in order for us to side with our heroes. Because at first, when it was no, you broke a canon event in the Spider-Verse, Miles, by saving or whatever Indian Spider-Man, whatever his universe was, and by that you caused a rift in the multiverse that if not contained could rip the entire multiverse apart. It's like, no, that is a good thing, and if you're tempted to do this again with your parents, then you are going to do the same thing again. We can't let you do that. It's for the multiverse, the greater good at that point. If it kept it that, it's like, I don't know, I'm kind of on the antagonist. I'm hesitant to call them villains at this point because they're all, heroes. The Spider-Man's always supposed to be the hero. I'll call them antagonists. I was kind of siding with the antagonists on this point, and Miles is rightfully, struggling with that and rebelling against that. And when everyone was stopping, it's like, all right, no, we're going to stop him. If that's just the threat, then yeah, that's all right. That's all we need. But then Spider-Man 2099 has to take it that one step further. It's like, no, you weren't even supposed to be there because the spider that bit you was from another universe. That felt like kicking him while he was down to a certain extent, and I know that why that was there because that had to tie in thematically with the advice that Miles' mom gave him in the beginning. And yes, that was the message that goes with it, but I don't know, that felt a little unnecessary because there was already the betrayal that Miles was feeling with Gwen and Peter B. Parker with, this is why you wanted to see me, why couldn't you do that? To add one more on top of that, I don't know, that felt a little unnecessary, in my opinion. But maybe that's just me, but that felt like a little one step too far, and that it pushed him into full jerk territory at that point. You didn't need to tell him that. You already had one. You were already on opposite sides of the issue here, so let's just keep that like semi-professional at this point. All right. So I mean that was another minor nitpick, but I had to keep it to the spoiler thought because major plot points in there. And speaking of the cliffhanger ending, I feel like this very much feels like Back to the Future Part 2's ending, because both that movie and this have the central conflict leading into the next movie is going to be we have to save someone from another place and time, or universe in this instance. So, for Marty it was got to go back to save Doc from the Old West, and in here it's we got to save Miles from he's in the wrong universe where there is no Spider-Man. So, there's that comparison to be made there. And really, that's kind of all I got for that. Like I said, this is a gorgeous looking movie, and there's some great storytelling to be here. And who knows, maybe subsequent rewatches will help me get over some of these niggles that I had after the initial viewing. But what did you think of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, rather? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did I miss something in my analysis? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate whatever audience I can get. Be sure to look for my next movie review, which will be for, I believe, Transformers Rise of the Beasts. And if you like this video or any other video on my channel, please give me a like, share, and especially subscribe. I would very much appreciate it. Again, thank you so much for watching, but just remember, there is nothing new under the sun. And yes, you have seen it before.